Well then, I will start now. I'm Taylor Donich. I am the sole founder for Nihongo Master. Nihongo Master is an online language education platform that teaches Japanese. But I'm really actually not going to talk so much about my startup. I'm going to break format a little bit. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history of being an entrepreneur, of building Nihongo Master, and some of the harsh lessons that I learned through my journey. Share that with you. Hopefully, you'll get some value out of it. And the way I'd like to start is with the fact that Nihongo Master was not actually my first startup. My first startup was a company called Vegas Brews, and I thought it was going to be amazing, right? I thought it was an online magazine all about Vegas nightlife. I had a staff of 15 people. We would go to Vegas nightclubs, we would review special events, we would interview DJs, photograph everybody, and it was going to be simple, right? The business model was going to be advertising. What could go wrong? 6 months passed by. You know what happened? Nothing. Nobody spent $1 on advertising. I had to sit down with my staff and tell them I could no longer afford to pay you. We ran out of money. We're closing shop. Devastating. And that's when I learned harsh truth number one. And that is the end is always chasing you. No matter how good you think that your startup is, no matter how good or how immune you think you are to the harsh reality that most startups fail within the first 2 years, you are wrong. Chances are you will fail. And when you fail, you have two options. You can persevere, stand up, move forward, or you can admit defeat, be crushed. And in my failure, I was defeated, I was crushed. I told myself I would never make another startup. That was horrible, it was stressful, it was just pain. 3 months passed, and I decided to do something that I always wanted to do, go visit Japan. Really relaxing. And in order to prepare for my trip, I decided to study the language. I bought Rosetta Stone, I bought books, I bought software. I studied my heart out for 3 to 4 months, went to Japan for 3 weeks, had a great time, came back, wanted to continue learning the language, but I looked at these tools and said, damn, those are boring. So as any proper engineer, I built my own tools. And I found them to be useful. So useful, in fact, I thought they would be useful to other people. And I told myself, I should do another startup. And I told myself, wait a minute, I told myself that I would never do another startup. And that's when I learned the harsh truth number 2, that quitting is lying to yourself. If you are truly an entrepreneur, if you are passionate about building things, your past failures are fleeting. When you fail, you know you're going to get back up and start again. And start again, I did. For the next 5 months in downtown Las Vegas, I built my product. And during that 5 months, I met some very interesting people. These people came up to me and said, Taylor, I have the next big idea. I'm going to build the next Facebook, the next eBay. I'm going to change the world of online building. And I got so excited. I said, show me. I'd love to see it. And they said, well, I'm looking for funding right now. Or, no, I'm actually looking for someone to help me build it. And time passed, and those same people had the same excuses, the same story, and I realized harsh truth number 3, and that is failing to start is a fear of failure. These people were afraid of failure. By just reiterating the story over and over and not actually building anything, they didn't run the risk. And sometimes you just have to take the leap of faith. You have to get your product out there. You have to get it in the hands of the users. And leap of faith I did. I launched the Nihongo Master Beta, and I started to see the users rolling in. 1,000 new users, 2,000, 5,000, over 10,000 users signed up for the Nihongo Master Beta to learn Japanese. I was stoked. I was full of myself. I thought the money was going to come rolling in when I went out of beta. And out of beta I did. I implemented the paywall. And you know what happened? Nothing. 2 weeks passed before one sole user subscribed to my service. And that's when I learned harsh truth number 4. That your users are not always customers. It's very easy to build a product that users will use, especially if it's free, right? I'm sorry, but that browser extension that you're building in your spare time is not going to change the industry. It's not going to make you $1 million. You need to add value for your users. And I knew that's what I had to do. But I ran into a familiar problem. I ran out of money. But this time I told myself, I actually have traction. I have some users. I'm going to try and get some funding. So I paused Nihongo Master, I wrote my executive summary, I polished my pitch deck, I went out to all the VC events. And you know what happened in Nihongo Master while I was trying to sell myself to the biggest bidder? Nothing. No user signups, no new features, no new content, it became stagnant. And I realized truth number 5, funding is not free. We know that when you obtain funding, you're selling a portion of your company to the investor, we know that. But what we don't know is that the time it takes to actually seek that funding is even more expensive, because that's time taken away from actually building your startup. And if enough time passes, your project is dead. Nobody wants to invest in a dead project. So I realized that, so I continued bootstrapping it with my own money, and bootstrapping I did. I restarted building new content, new features, the users started coming back in, I started getting cocky, I started getting full of myself again. I said, I'm gonna build the next big killer feature, the big feature that those users are just gonna come rolling in. So I built the feature, released it, much to my happiness. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nobody used it, nobody knew how it worked, nobody really wanted it. And I realized harsh truth number 6. And that is your assumptions are wrong. You don't know what your users want. Only your users know what they want. And unless you are listening to them, unless you open up that line of communication, you are shooting blanks. You are building stuff that they're not interested in. So I opened up that line of communication. I implemented tools where I would gather as much data as possible, gather feedback from them, and I also decided to release smaller iterations, smaller releases. And sure enough, the users came. And now to present day, I'm very happy to say thousands of users are using the Nihongo Master to learn Japanese online. They are no longer using language self-study. And that's amazing to me. Thousands of users are using something that I built. Being an entrepreneur is pain and reward, no matter how many setbacks I had in this journey. The moment you get your first user, the moment you get your first dollar, the moment the user emails you and says your product is invaluable, it is just nothing but a world of joy. Nothing but a world of joy. So I'm going to end with this. If you are an entrepreneur and you are truly passionate about building something, after this event, start up or shut up. Go home, build that landing page, write that line of code, put the product in the hands of your users and watch it fly. Because you guys and me, we are entrepreneurs, we are dreamers, we build things, and nothing is going to stand in our way. Thank you. I didn't really talk much about my startup, but if you want to know more, you can come see me.
Well, we'll do 7 minutes of Q&A.
Cool, yeah, ask me anything.
You know about your startup?
Yes! See, I snuck that in. I knew that was going to be a question. So, yeah, Nihongo Master, like I said, is an online language education platform. Again, like I built it because I wanted to learn more about Japanese. You know, I have a content team that's building it. There's no gimmicks to it, right? It's an online classroom where you get traditional lessons, written lessons, that teach you how to read, write, and speak Japanese. It uses some advanced tools that I built for space repetition for drills, so you can master vocabulary faster, so you can master writing. But there's a very rich social layer on it. You're learning with 35,000 other students who are learning Japanese. You are scoring points, gaining achievements, you're ranking against other people, you're answering other people's questions. It's a very collaborative element. So not only are you getting the tools that you would normally get through self-study, but even heightened through technology, you're in an online social environment learning with other learners. And that's the gist of it. And I wrote Nihongo Master with a small scope of teaching Japanese, but it's become successful enough to really validate the idea that this technology, this platform, this learning management system that I built can be applied to other languages as well as other areas of study. So we are actually now starting to investigate teaching additional languages, as well as potentially utilizing the content management system outside of language education into other areas of study. Yes?
Konbanwa. So, number one, how many users do you have now? Number two, how many dollars are coming in from them on a monthly recurring rate? Mm-hmm. Number three, have you raised money? And number four, where from?
Okay, so we have over 35,000 registered users. However, I would say we have about 5,000 constantly super active users that are coming in every other day to learn. It's a freemium model, which means that we have a plethora of beginner content that is freely available. And then for a subscription, then you get access to advanced lessons, you get access to advanced tools. And I would say, standard freemium model is anywhere from 1% to 3%. We're ranging around 1.2% of our user base paying for it. And it's a monthly subscription fee or biannual or annual. I would say we're reaching about 5,000 a month in revenue. It's actually more than break even. It's profitable, which is great. Hooray. And like I said, I had to bootstrap it with my own money, so I have a day job. But I also have other people who are dedicated to Nihongo Master and growing it, which is great. No, I have not done any funding. Like I said, funding is not free. I spent about 3 months fully dedicated for the search of funding, and I found that 3 months is way more important to building the product and continuing to increase its value. If you got funding too early, you get a tendency, you hear all these horror stories of startups just burning through their cash. by bootstrapping. I understand where every dollar kind of goes and if it's valuable or not. So I have a little bit better control of money. But no, I haven't seeked funding, not really necessarily looking for it. If you want to give me money. Yes.
So two questions. I've only really heard of Rosetta Stone for learning languages, but like, how does this compare with that? It's like different or better? And then, sorry, second question. Like, someone who's serious and put in an hour a day, how long would it actually take to learn Japanese?
That's a very good question. So I'll answer the first one, Rosetta Stone. So Rosetta Stone is fairly gimmicky, and I don't know if show of hand who has used Rosetta Stone. After I would say 2 months, have any of you continued using it? See, everybody's like shaking their head, right? That's because they spend so much money on their marketing budget. They want to sink you in, and then they know you're not going to use the product anymore because it's very gimmicky. It gives you some simple, basic vocabulary and set sentences that you can use in a context, right? But the moment you have to come up with original thought in the language that you're trying to learn, Rosetta Stone will not help you. It doesn't teach you grammar points, doesn't teach you the intricacies of culture or anything like that. So you can't learn from that. And that's why Rosetta Stone really doesn't have a strong European market. Because in Europe, where multiple languages are apparent in most speakers, they realize that that's not a system that they can learn from. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
So if I was the average kind of slow person, but I put in an hour a day, when would I be?
So Nihongo Master has basic levels of education. So we have introductory, which teaches you basic vocabulary and simple. Like if you're going to go to Japan, you just need simple greetings and stuff like that. You could blaze through that in a couple weeks and have a very, very basic level of just getting around Japan and kind of stumbling through, right? And then there's a testing certification called the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, right? It comes in 5 levels. JLPT in 5 is basic, JLPT in 1 is near proficient, like native speaker. Nihongo Master is constantly releasing new content. We have enough content to cover all the way through N5 and N4, right? And we have people who have passed N5 in about 2 to 3 months. And that is very, very low key learning. And we've had people blaze through it in like a month's time, like they had to rapidly learn. And we have people that have who are very young speakers because our product is very approachable. So we've had learners as young as 9 using the system very, very well. And we've had people who have been experienced language learners using the product as well. So it's for all levels and for as much time as you want. Our system is intelligent enough where if you came back after a week of not using the system, it would be able to just pick up where you left off and find your weak spots and just kind of re-drill you and get your memory back.
Let me give you one more.
Okay.
How do customers find you?
Damn good question. If you know the answer to that, let me know the question. I think the hardest problem with being a solo founder, and most of the time that I built the business was as a solo founder, and I'm lucky now to actually have a small team helping me, is how do you get this in front of people? And we use the one way that we did initially was the beta was really the dictionary. And we used long tail SEO to latch onto all the dictionary terms because a lot of people go online and say, how do you say car in Japanese? And we would find that search query and bring them in there and introduce them to that. So a lot of it was originally long tail. And then now recently when you find social groups, there's a lot of groups online that are learning Japanese, whether it's Reddit or Facebook or anything like that. So you target those groups and you make an introduction to the group leaders and try to build that. So Nihongo Master is very social and community driven. So we want to build community evangelists that actually evangelize the product for us, and it works very well for us. We don't want to just spend money through an advertising channel, and then once that money goes out, there's no users coming in. We feel that evangelists help to continue to virally just build a customer base. And it's a loyal